Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to James's Snooker Nation, the home of snooker chat, facts, stats and more. And in today's video we're going to be discussing whether Ronnie O'Sullivan can win an 8th world title. Yes, it is that time. We are very close, or at least getting closer to the World Championships in Sheffield. I cannot wait. It's my favourite tournament, as I'm sure it is all of yours as well. And so we're going to start to talk about the World Championships. This is obviously the first video of hopefully quite a few on this channel about the Worlds. And I thought it'd be good to start with something about Ronnie O'Sullivan, the man in form, possibly the player of the season, and it's amazing to say that he's maybe not the player of the season when he's already won 4 tournaments this year. But we'll go on to that. Let's take a look, first of all, as to his season so far and why potentially he is one of the favourites for the World Championships. All right, so let's jump into Ronnie O'Sullivan's season so far, which should give us a good picture of how he's been playing. We know he's won 4 titles this season so far, the first one of those being the Shanghai Masters back in 2023, beating Luca Brissell 11-9. Then we move on to the English Open, where he lost in the last 16 to Zhang Anda 4-2. Let's move on to the next season, whipped through these competitions, where he got to the quarterfinals of the Wuhan Open, which, you know, we know Ronnie likes these Chinese events, but only getting to the quarterfinals, losing to Lu Haitoyan. Hope that's how you say the name. Unfortunately, I don't know the pronunciation. 5-1. And in the next tournament, the International Championship, he lost again to Zhang Anda 9-6 in the semi-finals. But we can see a sort of trend here. You know, he's getting to most of the business end of these tournaments that he's competing in, he's entering. Obviously, we know Ronnie likes to choose and pick and choose his tournaments now. And we move on now to the first of the Triple Crown events, the UK Championships in York back in December last year, where he won. He beat Ding Junhui, who we know Ding Junhui loves the UK Championships and he loves York, but he beat him 10-7 in that final. An impressive victory for the Rockets. Didn't play in the Scottish Open. Again, like we just said, he likes to pick and choose his tournaments. And then, of course, we move on to the Masters in January. Again, played very well. A very comprehensive win against Ali Carter in the final. So that was the second of the Triple Crown series. And we'll move on to the Triple Crown series in a little while. But something that many of you guys might not even know is that Ronnie O'Sullivan has never actually won all 3 Triple Crown events in a single season. So that's definitely something that he's going to be wanting to do this season. I'm sure, I know he always talks about saying how he doesn't really care about records, things like that. But listen, Ronnie O'Sullivan definitely does care about records. You know, that's just sort of mind games to play on other players. But that's the 2024 Masters. And then we move on to the World Grand Prix, where again, he beat Judd Trump 10-7. And if any of you guys watched that final, you know that he was sort of in second gear for a lot of that tournament. And sort of just turned it on in the last 3 or 4 frames of the final. Just completely destroyed Judd Trump. And if you watch the semi-final, a lot of people were saying that the snooker he played in that match in the semi-final was some of, if not the best snooker they have ever seen him play. I mean, it was just a phenomenal performance and simply unbeatable. So if you can bring that kind of performance to the Worlds, I don't see anyone beating him. We've looked at his season so far. What are the kind of key points to be taken from this season that he's had so far? So obviously, he's won 4 titles at the moment, the Shanghai, the UK's, the Masters and the World Grand Prix. And so I thought it'd be interesting to see how his seasons have compared when he's won the Worlds in previous seasons. So in 2022, which was the last time he won the World Championship, he had only actually won 1 ranking event, which was the World Grand Prix. So in terms of season performance, this season has been miles better than the season he had in 2022, where he went on to win the Worlds. And in 2020, which we always know has got a little bit of an asterisk next to it because of the COVID pandemic, but he also only won 1 tournament in that season as well, which was the Shanghai Masters at the start of the season. So in terms of, you know, recent performances in a season when he's gone on to win the World Championships, this season has been absolutely miles better than kind of previous seasons. So That tells you that he's definitely in form. He's liking his snooker, although we saw in a lot of his interviews so far that he's not really enjoying playing at the moment. But I'm sure that, you know, he's got that performance in him to win the World Championships. And just one more thing on the season so far. He's currently sitting at an 85.7% win ratio in ranking matches this season, which is just astronomical. You know, I mean, who is going to beat him when he's got an 85% win ratio? I'm not sure. So let's take a look at the reasons why he can win the World Championships this year. We know that he thrives under these big events. You know, we've seen him win the Masters and the UK Championships this year already. He's got 41 ranking titles under his name, 23 of those being Triple Crown events. And as mentioned earlier in the video, he's never won all 3 Triple Crown events in a single season. Of course, this is the year to do it. The only 3 players to do that, by the way, Steve Davis, Stephen Hendry, and Mark Williams. Another incentive for him to try and win this year is that we know he doesn't have a huge amount of time left in his career. 48 years and counting now. I'm sure he'll want to make sure of the 8th title. He doesn't want to be sitting joint with Stephen Hendry on 7. That is for sure. So we've talked about the reasons as to why he could win it. Let's talk about the reasons as to why he can be stopped. And there's definitely players that can beat him in these kind of longer format matches. Judd Trump, for example, he is potentially up there with the players of the season. I think it all comes down to how well they do in the Worlds this year. Judd versus Ronnie, that is. He's already won 4 ranking events, the same as Ronnie, Judd Trump has. And he's definitely a player to watch out for the Worlds as well. Of course, we'll be talking about the Worlds in a lot more detail close to the event. But yeah, Judd Trump, I think, is definitely someone that can beat Ronnie in these longer format events. And don't forget Mark Allen as well. He seems to be peaking at the right time. He's got his kind of more match-playing game now fine-tuned, and I definitely think that he's up there as well and can tackle Ronnie in these kind of longer match formats. We also have to mention Ronnie O'Sullivan's temperament. You know, sometimes he can look like he's unstoppable, and sometimes he looks like he doesn't even want to be there. So, you know, I mean, we saw in the Players' Championship this year against Mark Selby, he got whitewashed 6-0. Didn't even look like he wanted to be there. I'm sure he won't bring that kind of attitude to Sheffield this year, but it's just something to keep an eye on. You know, we know Ronnie has his demons and he has his struggles with his mental health. So, you know, it just depends if he can bring his kind of psychological A game to the Worlds this year as well. We know also he doesn't really like the Sheffield crowds. Just finds the longer format games a little bit difficult. I mean, I've always said personally, if he had a sort of temperament and a mindset like someone like Stephen Hendry, he could be sitting on 14 or 15 world titles now. But, you know, sometimes he does struggle with that side of the game. So, yeah, it's difficult for him. And we all know how much that side of the game has an impact on snooker. So I'm going to put my neck out on the line and say I do think Ronnie is going to win the World Championships this year. Now, it's a bold thing to say because, like we say, Ronnie is so unpredictable. He's so hard to tell if he's going to, you know, turn up for the Worlds this year. But I just can't see any other results, really. I mean, you take a look at his season. He's won the Shanghai, the UK's, the Masters, and the World Grand Prix this season. And, you know, it's been one of his best seasons to record. If he can bring those kind of performances to the Worlds, I genuinely don't see anyone beating him. It's not going to be easy. We know that this is the ultimate test of snooker. But I can't wait to see what happens. I do think that if he wins this year, and I do think he's going to win this year, it will be his last ever World Championship victory. I don't think he's got anything more in the tank after that, but hey, who knows? I could be wrong. I really appreciate you guys for sticking around until the end of this video, watching. Let me know what your thoughts are. Do you think Ronnie O'Sullivan can win the World Championships this year? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments section down below. But apart from that, guys, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more snooker content on this channel. And I'll see you guys in the next video.